Number 10. Lauren Pazienza. In early 2022, 87-year-old singing coach Barbara Maya Guston was waiting for a taxi to go see one of her students perform in Manhattan when someone charged at her from behind and shoved her for no apparent reason. She fell to the ground and smacked her head against the pavement, leaving her with a large gash. While waiting for emergency responders, Guston told a friend that she had never been hit so hard in her life. Police arrived just in time to get a description of the attacker before she fell unconscious. She was rushed to the hospital, where she was treated for brain trauma, but she died from her injuries. 2 weeks later, a 26-year-old woman named Lauren Pazienza turned herself in and was charged with manslaughter. The suspect's motives for randomly attacking an elderly stranger out of nowhere remain unclear. Pazienza's lawyer, Arthur A. Dalla, told the Daily Mail that his client is a good person who's being accused of something awful and that she's devastated by the ordeal. But past acquaintances described her as violence-prone, emotionally unstable, and dangerous. Prosecutors claim that Pazienza was upset on the night of the tragedy because the park she was at with her fiancé was closing and she didn't want to leave. She remains behind bars without bail while the case plays out in court. Number 9. Disgruntled Vatican tourist. During a visit to the Vatican in 2022, a 65-year-old American tourist allegedly began smashing sculptures when he learned that he couldn't meet the Pope. It all started when he demanded to see the head of the Catholic Church and was told that his request couldn't be granted. He reportedly stomped off in a fit of rage, grabbed a bust lining the wall of the Chiaramonti Museum and smashed it to the floor. The man was accused of damaging at least 2 busts by the time authorities intervened on the explosive tantrum and stopped him from causing more harm. He was charged with aggravated damage. Luckily, the damage wasn't extensive and the busts were deemed fixable. One bust lost part of its nose and ear, while the other came off its pedestal, according to Vatican Museum spokesman Matteo Alessandrini, who spoke with CNN. But repairing them would come at an estimated cost of $14,800 and would take around 300 hours of labor, all thanks to an unhinged tourist's hissy fit. Number 8. Tara Palmer Tomkinson. When she noticed people taking pictures of her at London's Heathrow Airport in 2014, English socialite Tara Palmer Tomkinson became visibly upset. She would later claim that bystanders began to mock her and that she lost her temper when a man supposedly told her that she wasn't fit to travel because she was crying. Others reported that Palmer Tomkinson threw a tantrum because she was denied access into the first-class lounge. Regardless of the reasons, the fact that the socialite flew into a rage is undeniable because it was captured on camera. In the video, bystanders could be heard describing Palmer Tomkinson as ballistic as she argued with the police. At one point, she got so angry that she ripped out a handful of her hair extensions and threw them at the officers. She then threw her coat and tried to run while screaming one last insult, but the police stopped her. It took 8 officers to get the situation under control, and the former model was taken into custody, sobbing and screaming. Palmer Tomkinson claimed that she wasn't drinking during the incident, but that her outburst was triggered by an anxiety attack. It makes sense given her history of struggling with both substance abuse and debilitating anxiety, which at one point turned her into a recluse who barely left her home. She also denied rumors that she had been charged with disorderly conduct and claimed that she was let off with a warning. Number 7. Michaela Tackett. 18-year-old Michaela R. Tackett was working at an Arby's restaurant in Sharonville, Ohio, when she allegedly threw a colossal tantrum during her shift. It all started with name-calling when she had a disagreement with her boss, Sierra McQuarrie. The chaos eventually escalated into Tackett grabbing a fryer filled with boiling grease and fries and using it to throw fries at other workers, according to police reports. She was also accused of smashing a telephone onto the floor, threatening to wreck the manager's car, and threatening to slap other employees in the face before fleeing the restaurant. After Tackett left the scene, the police called her on the phone to inform her that she was fired and warned her not to return to Arby's or contact anyone there. They also told her that she was facing charges of disorderly conduct and criminal damage. Minutes later, an Arby's employee received a message from Tackett stating, "I got you." The worker called the police and told them that she was afraid of the suspect. Tackett admitted becoming angry with her co-workers and breaking a phone in the store, but denied threatening anyone. In an interview with local station WCPO, she said that she felt like people thought she was a bad person when she wasn't, and that she was nervous because she had never been in a situation like the one she was in. Number 6. Malik McDowell. Malik McDowell's first official year as an NFL pro got off to a bad start when he got into an ATV accident and was unable to play in the 2017 season due to a concussion. Things took an even worse turn a few months later when he allegedly threw a tantrum at a nightclub outside Atlanta in Chamblee, Georgia. Bouncers at the club said that McDowell accused them of stealing his money after he paid the valet $600 to park his car. According to staff, the club only took payment inside, and McDowell's parking bill had not yet been settled. They let him come back into the club, but kicked him out when he poured 2 bottles of alcohol into a bucket of ice. At that point, police were called to the scene, where they reportedly struggled with the 6'6", 198cm athlete as he yelled at officers. A police report claimed that McDowell threw himself onto the ground in a fit of rage and that he accused an officer of stealing his money while searching him. McDowell and his friend were charged with disorderly conduct and were released on bond. Over the years, he's faced numerous criminal allegations, including DUI, assault, resisting arrest, and more. He spent a year in prison before returning to the NFL, but only played for 1 season before running into trouble again. In early 2022, police in Boca Raton, Florida, responded to a call about a man walking around naked in public and charged McDowell with public exposure, aggravated battery of an officer, and resisting arrest. Number 5. Melissa Rancourt. When staff members at the Espanola Recreation Centre in Ontario asked Greater Sudbury Police Constable Melissa Rancourt for proof of her COVID vaccination in 2021, she allegedly reacted explosively. The off-duty policewoman was there to attend a children's hockey game, but she never ended up seeing it because she was too busy getting arrested for her tirade. She was accused of calling staff members Nazis, kicking a door and arguing with a provincial police officer who was called to the scene to deal with her outburst. Rancourt initially denied calling the rec center employees Nazis, despite numerous witnesses alleging otherwise. Authorities charged her with resisting a peace officer and entering a premises when entry has been prohibited. She was subjected to a disciplinary hearing during which her anti-vax Facebook posts were brought up as a concerning factor in her behavior. It was also revealed that her superiors at the Greater Sudbury Police Department had cautioned her about her controversial social media use. One post from the day before Rancourt was arrested stated her plans to attend a hockey game and that she would not be disclosing her and her kids' private medical information. The opposing lawyer, Joël Dubois, argued that the post demonstrates premeditation and intent. Rancourt was put on administrative duties following the incident and attended a sensitivity class to learn more about the use of Holocaust terms like Nazi, which she admitted in court to using. She also formally apologized. According to the last update, her criminal charges were withdrawn and she was facing a disciplinary penalty ranging from forfeiting 2 days' worth of pay to being demoted. Number 4. Amanda Napier. In April of 2022, police were called to a hospital in East Kilbride, Scotland, over a disturbance involving a woman who was in the throes of a temper tantrum. Staff members told officers that 45-year-old Amanda Napier originally came in for treatment of a toe injury, but soon began to act disruptive. She was accused of throwing her glasses around the waiting room and barging into a treatment room where doctors were with another patient. When employees tried getting her to leave, she allegedly threw herself on the floor. Police arrived to find Napier rolling about the floor like a child and yelling obscenities when an officer tried to calm her down, according to prosecutor Abby Seal. Someone told her to stop yelling and that there were children in the waiting room, to which she reportedly replied, "I don't give a F." Napier proceeded to kick her shoe off and throw her phone before lunging at a policewoman and biting her arm. She was accused of similar behavior in a previous incident when paramedics found her intoxicated and bleeding in the street and tried to help her. After the hospital incident, the judge sentenced Napier to 18 months of probation and sternly warned her that this was her last chance before she suffers more serious legal consequences for her behavior. Number 3. Tyler Cole Hutton. During criminal court proceedings in Baxter County, Arkansas in July of 2021, officers overheard some commotion coming from an area where inmates are held while they await their hearings. They ran back into the room and found 28-year-old Tyler Cole Hutton attacking a deputy and yelling obscenities. It was similar to another incident that happened just 2 months earlier, when Hutton just snapped, in the words of one deputy. During the second attack, Hutton reportedly exploded after demanding that the charges from the first incident be dropped and not getting his wish. Hutton originally wound up in court on a domestic battery charge for allegedly attacking the mother of his daughter. After the first court outburst, he was charged with battery on a police officer, impairing the operation of a vital public facility, and disorderly conduct. The second incident brought additional charges, including felony battery on a police officer and, once again, impairing the operation of a vital public facility and misdemeanor disorderly conduct. Hutton remained calm during his next court hearing, during which he pleaded guilty in all 3 of the cases against him. The judge sentenced him to 6 years in prison. He applied for parole in May of 2022 and was denied. Number 2. Luke Vincent Gotti. Luke Vincent Gotti went viral in 2015 over a highly unflattering drunken tirade that was captured on camera when he was denied bacon jalapeno mac and cheese. The 19-year-old former University of Connecticut student was trying to order the dish at the Union Street Market, but an employee noticed that he was drinking alcohol, which isn't permitted there, and asked him to leave. Footage of the incident, recorded by a bystander, shows Gotti refusing to leave despite the workers' repeated requests before he devolves into verbally abusing the staff. He mocked the manager's job position, referred to the manager using a homophobic slang term, and made other belligerent remarks. Gotti shoved the manager several times before being restrained by other employees while they waited for police to arrive. Authorities charged him with breach of peace and criminal trespass after the video of the encounter went viral, earning him the nickname of Mac and Cheese Douche. Gotti made a YouTube video apologizing for his cringeworthy behavior. He acknowledged that he acted unacceptably and promised that he was working on addressing his obvious issues. The judge overseeing the case apparently agreed and ordered him to attend a substance abuse program. But this wasn't Gotti's first arrest for treating people badly, and it wouldn't be his last. About a year before the mac and cheese incident, he was charged with disorderly conduct in 2 separate incidents, during one of which he allegedly hurled a racial insult at another UConn student. Then, in June of 2016, less than a year after the mac and cheese incident, police in Boca Raton, Florida, charged Gotti with battery on an officer and resisting an officer with violence. The incident reportedly happened after Gotti fled from a rehab facility, and police were trying to take him into custody under Florida's Baker Act, which enables concerned parties to have someone temporarily institutionalized out of a concern for their mental health. Number 1. Kylie Dipper. Police officers were patrolling in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware one night in 2019 when they heard a woman screaming. They found her and identified her as a 22-year-old Pennsylvania resident, Kylie Dipper, and learned that she had been separated from her boyfriend. Officers guided her back to her hotel room, where she was reunited with the man. They found themselves back at the scene just a few minutes later when the woman once again began to scream loudly. She allegedly refused to quiet down and had alarmed several other hotel guests. Dipper was arrested and escorted to the police vehicle, during which time she became combative. She kicked an officer while they struggled to get her into the vehicle, then vomited in the vehicle, and both vomited and urinated at the police department. Authorities charged Dipper with resisting arrest with force or violence, offensive touching of a law enforcement officer, disorderly conduct, and more. Thanks for watching. Would you rather go viral for losing your temper in the middle of a restaurant, or get into a fist fight with another guest at your best friend's wedding reception? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.